Teclistamab is a humanized B-cell maturation antigen CD3 bispecific antibody, and I'm reporting on the first in human phase 1 clinical trial in relapsed refractory multiple myeloma. As we all know, that patients who have relapsed refractory multiple myeloma, especially after having seen a proteasome inhibitor, immunomodulatory drug, and anti-CD38 monoclonal antibody, it's poor. The median overall survival has been reported anywhere between 6 to 11 months at best. So new therapies are required for this patient population, and having a bispecific antibody strategy that targets BCMA would be a good off-the-shelf approach for an immune-mediated therapeutic strategy. So teclistamab is based off of the Janssen DuoBody antibody platform. In preclinical studies, it has shown to not only be effective in killing myeloma cell lines, but also primary myeloma cells from heavily pretreated patient population. And I'm reporting on the dose escalation portion of the study, where dosing was done from the start of cohort 1 at 0.3 micrograms per kilogram, all the way up to 720 microgram per kilogram. A total of 78 patients were treated on this study with a median time from diagnosis of about 7 years, about 6 prior lines of treatment. 80% of the patients were class refractory, 41% of the patients were penta-drug refractory, 87% were refractory to an anti-CD38 monoclonal antibody, and 86% were actually refractory to the prior line of treatment that was given. And in terms of safety, the key feature to note was the fact that 56% of the patients had cytokine release syndrome, but it was all grade 1 and 2, and this is across all the different cohorts. We only observed 6 neurotoxic events, and of those, 4 were grade 1 or 2. And 2 DLTs were observed. One was a grade 4 delirium, and one was a grade 4 thrombocytopenia. 65% of patients did have infections, but 21% of them were grade 3 or higher. And looking at the onset of CRS, it was about 1 day. Duration was also about 1 day. And 54% of the patients received some supportive measure for the cytokine release syndrome. What's important to note is that the overall response rate, which was available for cohorts up to the 270 microgram per kilogram dose, saw an overall response rate of 67% for that particular cohort of 12 patients. And we saw 3 CRs and 3 VGPRs in that group. Of the 8 responders, 7 were triple class refractory, 5 were penta-drug refractory. And of those patients who were MRD evaluable, 4 out of 5 were MRD negative at 10 to the minus 6. And 2 patients had MRD negative CRs as well. And of the 2 patients who actually had serial MRD evaluations done, they were sustained MRD negative at the 5-month and 14-month mark, respectively. And the responses continued to deepen over time in this particular study. We did not have the data mature to report for the 720 microgram per kilogram dose, but we're hoping that we can do that in a subsequent congress. So, so across the board, to conclude, we found that teclistamab had a safe profile, manageable across all doses. The overall response rate of 67% with 50% having VGPR or higher was seen at the 270 microgram per kilogram dose in a highly refractory patient population. And the dose escalation and expansion phases of the study are ongoing. We continue to make myeloma a chronically managed disease, and as patients become refractory to available drug classes, we need new drug classes and targets that will help improve the survival outcome of our patients.